Mobile. This is the mobile moment. Everybody's been talking about mobile first. So the next two speakers are really going to delve deep into what that means and how it's changing our industry and perhaps the many, many new opportunities that exist in terms of marketing, in terms of advertising, and so on. But of course, there's a lot said about this, and I think a lot of it has to be based on facts and realities because, you know, it's the wine, perhaps not the bottle. A lot of people sometimes confuse the new platforms and not enough good content is there to sustain those platforms. So what does that mean, the mobile moment that we face? And who better to tell us all about it than the Global Director of Advertising for Telefonica, Shaun Gregory, to set the scene for us on the mobile moment that we're all facing in 2013 and going forth. But before that, some facts and figures. Have a look.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shaun Gregory, as said, Telefonica Digital's Global Advertising Director. Together with a team of advertising professionals, we're investing in LATAM to unlock what we believe is a tremendous opportunity. Telefonica Digital was created almost 2 years ago to drive adjacent business opportunities and reinvent our core business. We deliver growth beyond connectivity. So essentially, we're the people who inject digital into Telefonica. Part of that is mobile advertising. Mobile advertising is changing the face of media planning all across the globe. People's increased use of technology has driven major market changes in advertising, as it's becoming more data-driven. Mobile's ability to deliver brands with hyper-targeted audiences and personalized messaging is accelerating a market shift towards where the ad budgets are being spent. Essentially, advertising is changing, and mobile is the key driver of that change. LATAM can be the world's fastest growing mobile ad market. It's uniquely placed to leapfrog the US, Asia, and Europe in terms of innovation and moving forward with total ad spend. Why? LATAM doesn't have the same baggage, history, or precedent that the mobile advertising markets in the rest of the world have suffered from. It has the potential and the energy and the appetite to drive growth. This gives LATAM the opportunity to be the first region in the world that gets mobile marketing right first time. Combined, this makes LATAM a massive opportunity for Telefonica. 215 million customers in Latin America. That's 41% of the total population of the 14 countries where we're present. Over 2 in 5 people have one of our brands in their hands. With this kind of established audience scale and the supporting infrastructure, mobile provides advertisers with the ability to reach a mass audience of millions, engaging them as individuals. From our perspective, these individuals are our customers and the lifeblood of our core business, so it's crucial that we add value. How? We do that through data. Data is the new economy, and it's changing what was once a dark art into a clinical science for the ad business. It gives consumers a more relevant experience and a reason to engage with brands. It gives advertisers an audience who are interested on a one-to-one basis, not as a mass media audience, but engaging millions of people on an individual level. Marketeers have no need to worry anymore about which half of their advertising works and which doesn't. Hard measurements way beyond the click. Let me talk you through 3 main consequences mobile advertising will have for business in Latin America. Firstly, advertisers will have to think mobile first. The pace of mobile and smartphone adoption in the region will send LATAM straight to mobile, and this is what we call the leapfrog effect. By 2017, there will be more people accessing the internet via a mobile device than fixed. High device ownership. Mobile device ownership in Latin America has reached 114%. Smartphone sales are skyrocketing, up 89% year on year in Brazil, 61% in Mexico, and 98% in Peru. The launch of low-cost smartphones, such as Firefox OS from Telefonica, will aid this growth. Brazil later this year, already live in Colombia, Venezuela, and Spain, and doing very, very well. By 2015, 35% of internet users will be accessing the internet only through smartphones. And by 2017, more people in Latin America, that will be the primary access for their mobile device. LATAM will have to think mobile first. I believe this will be demonstrated in the region next year, which will bring the first Mobile World Cup, building on what was arguably the world's first Mobile Olympics in London last year. In addition, this will disrupt the traditional path to purchase, or the new path to purchase, the moment of truth. Data will allow advertisers to understand at which moment consumers are in the purchase cycle based on a likely product appeal, their demo, the appetite, their behavior, and proximity to purchase, their location and real-time location. Showrooming has already changed the conventional retail model. Retailers now face competition even with the customer physically in their store, and are rushing to adapt the in-store experience to interrupt this and win the customer back. 29% of consumers in Latin America already showroom, with 19% of those customers specifically using their mobile to do so. This will only increase with smartphone adoption. Brands will have to ensure that their digital destination, their content, their site, their advertising is mobile-enabled first. Secondly, mobile first will force collaboration and new business models. Mobile provides numerous opportunities for business to innovate and collaborate, driven by lower market entry costs. This will revolutionize the way the mobile advertising industry works. Businesses will have to be run differently, and the way media is bought. Collaboration, the way we work with our competitors, and the way we build our products. The trend is already mature in other regions around the world. And of those three areas, the buy side. In 5 years, most, if not the majority, of advertising will have some element of programmatic buying. In the rest of the world, we are currently seeing a fight across DSPs, SSPs, DMPs, ad networks, exchanges, all battling for supremacy. Across Europe, we've seen almost half of the value eaten from the ecosystem by technology. This won't happen in LATAM. LATAM will enter a more sophisticated ecosystem, thus avoiding this complexity and fragmentation that we've seen around the world. Only the successful businesses who have been victorious in the current battle will invest in LATAM. And lastly, the tried and tested route to success will be more transparent. As a consequence, mobile advertising will accelerate faster. How we work and collaborate. Operators, banks, and possibly retailers will join forces to compete with the over-the-top players. To stay around, they will have to innovate with new business models, innovate in the way they collaborate with competitors, and innovate in how they develop and launch new technical solutions and formats. This is already developing in Spain, the UK, and across Europe right now. 5 joint ventures already announced in the last 2 years in Europe, building on what we've seen in the US with ISIS. And building products. Lessons have already been learned. LATAM won't try and force other media formats onto the mobile, like banners. Mobile is especially powerful with value-added services, or where there is a tangible value exchange. Research suggests that formats such as coupons, sponsored calls, and sponsored data are welcomed in the region. Brazil has over 80% of customers stating they're happy to receive offers via SMS, and globally 43% having the same view. Sponsored calls from Fofo in Brazil saw a massive success with a 17% engagement rate. There's an emerging trend here in sponsored formats where the consumer is given something free in the form of a voucher, free calls, or even free data in exchange for being exposed to an ad. There are a range of emerging formats in LATAM not seen anywhere else, and I believe we will see more ad-funded models in this region than anywhere else in the world. Lastly, mobile advertising will accelerate faster in LATAM. The change in consumer behavior is already making advertisers evaluate where their media dollars are being spent. With LATAM having got the media landscape right and the user landscape right, mobile advertising will grow faster. Ease of technology and better user experience will supercharge mobile advertising in the region. Zenith Optimedia forecasts that in the next 2 years, ad spend in LATAM will grow by 10% this year and 9% in 2014 across all media, faster than any other region and double the growth of North America and 3 times that of Western Europe. It should come of no surprise to anyone in this room that mobile advertising will follow suit. eMarketer forecasts mobile advertising revenue will increase by 93% this year and will hit nearly 600 million in 2016, up from a mere 79 million last year. Over the next 4 years, mobile advertising in LATAM will hit a compound annual growth rate of 69%, faster than anywhere else in the world. And in the opinion of this audience, 70% of you think spend on mobile advertising will increase this year, with 11% saying you already plan to invest 15% or more of your budgets on mobile. Okay, Some big numbers in there. So back down to earth. Today, LATAM accounts for 0.6% of global mobile advertising revenue. So what's holding it back? My view, misconceptions and myths that surround mobile advertising. So let me just dispel a few of those for the next few minutes. First myth is that you or we are not ready. Compared to the rest of the world, attitudes towards mobile in general and mobile advertising in LATAM are positive. However, this is not reflected in ad spend. Let me tell you, your audience is ready for mobile. Here is a chart that plots how people regard mobile advertising versus ad spend. If we go through the attitudes left to right, we have the percentage of those that firstly agree it strongly enhances the quality of life, and secondly, those who are positive about relevant mobile advertising. LATAM's positive attitude for mobile advertising and affection for mobile in general is only comparable with Asia. But Asia's mobile ad spend per mobile connection is 10 times that of LATAM. Second myth, we need smartphones to be creative. Creativity doesn't require multi-million production budgets to make it successful or achieve cut-through. It's about understanding what consumers find valuable and working with formats that deliver on a good user experience. Currently, LATAM feature phones account for 69% of devices. But this hasn't prevented mobile engagement, with the average feature phone user spending 55 minutes every day using their mobile, compared to a global average of 42 minutes. Smartphone users are even more heavily engaged, especially relevant with sales soaring. So how can brands be creative with these two market conditions? The challenge here is for brands to make sense, not noise. Step one, make sure your targeting is right. LATAM is behind Europe in targeted mobile advertising, but a rapid increase in customer targeting is expected in the next 2 years. Adding targeting improves campaign performance by over 200%. Getting your message to the right person is crucial. Operators in particular sit on a raft of demographic and behavioral data that can be used to pull together the right audience an advertiser wants to reach. There are other more innovative targeting options available. Real-time location means brands and retailers can reach consumers on the go and at crucial points within their purchase decision-making cycle. Delivering a message straight into the hands of a consumer when they are nearby a store means a much more contextually relevant delivery. Location plus temperature targeting. Your message can be triggered to be sent once the temperature reaches a certain level, hot or cold. And timing. Sending messages at the time of the day when people will be making choices around everyday behavior, for example, breakfast, lunchtime, or shopping, is effective. Step two, develop made-for-mobile formats. Consider how your consumer will receive your ad and ensure targeting is right for the optimum contextual experience. It makes even the most basic format effective. SMS messaging and SAT push smart messaging are formats that are already available in the marketplace and give you mass reach as 100% of devices can receive them. SMS can be perceived as spam. However, when the right targeting options are applied and people aren't bombarded with messages, it is one of the most effective formats that exist today. For example, the bridge promotion here in Argentina targeted ABC1 smartphone users in metropolitan areas using postcode targeting, achieved a 67% ad recall, 82% incremental awareness, and 10% of recipients went on to actually physically watch the series. The point is, when you use the natural attributes of mobile to their best, nothing can get you closer to the consumer. Made for mobile formats simply make every moment mobile. Myth 3, mobile is an add-on or niche. Mobile transforms other media to generate dynamic, multidimensional engagement. It gives advertisers an always-on partner to accompany the wider media plan. The point here, when you use the natural attributes of mobile to their best, again, nothing gets you closer. Mobile is at home, it's on the commute, it's at work, it's when you're shopping, it's when you access your social world like Facebook, and it's even by most consumers' side when they go to sleep. Myth 4, the ROI isn't great. We just need to improve the way that we measure mobile. The majority of mobile conversions are offline. You need to put actions in place to measure those very things. Mobile coupons will tell you actual conversations and conversions. Being able to distribute mobile surveys, whether through sequential messaging or web surveys, gives you the ability to measure campaign metrics such as purchase intent, brand awareness, campaign affinity, and ultimately the wider media performance, the amplification. Here's a case study from Brazil and how it works in practice. How postcode targeting, plus time, plus click to call. Measurement drove 300% rise in sales during a 3-month period of pizza. Further to this, post-campaign we sent out mobile surveys to those who had been exposed to the advertising. The normal ways of measuring, we go beyond that. And from this, we can measure campaign recall, 63%. Purchase desire, 59%, and subsequent purchase, 20%. So in summary, and to wrap things up, the environment is now right for advertisers to test what works for them and to learn, invest, and scale in LATAM. Don't ignore feature phones, as they give you an ability to reach your audience more effectively. Mobile is always there, always on, and an engagement tool to accompany other forms of media. The best way and smartest way to understand how to get the best out of mobile is to partner with the experts. And lastly, and most importantly, LATAM has the potential to go faster than the US, Europe, and the rest of the world. We look forward to taking those steps with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Shaun. Anybody wants to come in? Any comments for Shaun? Yes, right here in the foreground. Do you have a comment? Just give us a second. We'll get a microphone to you. Shaun, come close to me here in the middle.
From your point of view, why is LATAM growing faster than any other market in the world?
There are there's possibly 3 things around that. Firstly, what you've seen around the world, in Europe, Asia, and the US particularly, is lots of mistakes that have been made over the last 5 to 10 years. And I genuinely do not believe we will see those mistakes in LATAM. I think secondly, there's a real trend of ad tech across many markets. And what we're seeing there is a consolidation of technology. There are too many tech players in the ecosystem. And I think LATAM will leapfrog that particular cycle. And then lastly, probably the most important one, which explains why I like to go to LATAM more than anywhere else in the world, is they actually make things happen. Many other regions in the world talk about things, and I think in LATAM, they test, they learn, and they do it well.
Let me challenge you a bit on the formats that you brought forth here as perhaps a way forward. because there's been tremendous rejection to many of them, specifically sponsored SMS, sponsor calls, and coupons. Yeah. We know the dynamics of coupons here, Groupon and all this is just not doing as well as it should be. And as I said before, perhaps what marketeers, what agencies need to explore closer and really try to put a lot of effort into is the wine, not the bottle. It's obvious that mobile is a fantastic platform, and not just mobile, but phablets, the mixture of mobile phones and tablets and so on. But very little thought perhaps is being given to what formats are the ones that will really work, because we're still pushing on them the same 30-second film pieces or the same thing. So are you that confident that indeed perhaps a way to get started is with sponsored SMSs or texts or calls or Groupons when we see that perhaps they're not doing as well elsewhere?
Yeah, I think on formats, it's similar to the last question. I think if you take mobile advertising in general across different parts of the world, I don't think you've yet seen what I would describe as the dominant format. What's actually happened in the last 5 to 10 years is that banners have been taken from online and squeezed onto a mobile device. And actually, it's been starved of innovation. And I think video, I think data will play a really key part in, lift off for new formats. So I don't think you've seen the dominant format as yet. What I would say about what's happening in LATAM, particularly in our countries like Brazil, Argentina, and Mexico, is there are a range of different trials and formats being driven through the market. So through innovation, you will see better formats. The saying across Europe is mobile advertising formats stink, and they do. They're really bad.
Indeed. And on that note, I mean, I'm sure you do a lot of research as to how people use these devices. We know that people check their mobiles 150 times a day. I think that's a figure that's floating around. But it is a fact that if you want to reinvent the format and come up with something clever that is engaging and lasting, you need to really understand how people consume. And a lot of people say that people on mobile are just snacking. They're just snacking. They're just, it's a very passing thing, very distracting, no beginning, no end. You don't know how you got there. It goes out on infinitum and so on. Is that backed up by your research? People are really just snacking? And if so, what that would mean for advertisers? And
I think clearly people will snack on the mobile device, but equally what's happened, if you just wander around and watch people with a mobile device, 5, 10 years ago, everybody was walking around with them with this kind of thing, and now everybody's walking around like this. And I think what you've seen is a real shift towards a proper engagement tool. What it does mean is that the formats do need to be different. They need to exist within a snacking environment. My own belief is that banners aren't very good because I'm yet to see a consumer that's really excited about clicking on a banner. Yeah. So I think where you get sponsored services, where you get something interesting that fits within that snacking environment. And I think the other point to add as well is try not to look as mobile in isolation. I think you need to look at mobile working with other forms of media. So if you look at the stats on the video at the beginning and the amount of consumers that have that device and are interacting with that device whilst watching TV, this is a pretty big phenomenon, particularly in the UK right now. And I think that plays a big part as well, which is how it works with other forms of media.
Shaun, quickly, we have time for one quick question here and an answer.
Yeah, so thank you so much for this great presentation. What I would like to know is, we know that the next billion consumers will leapfrog everything and will connect through mobile, but one of the barriers is the cost of data. And recently was launched this project, internet.org, that how we can reduce the cost of data, and all the carriers are doing this in order to help consumers to be much more connected. So I would like to hear your thoughts on this.
Yeah, it's a really good question. So I think the cost of data could be seen as a barrier, but I actually don't think it's the cost of data. I think it's the way that it's communicated to consumers. So again, in more developed markets for Telefonica, there is a need to move away from the core, we charge consumers for calls and SMS, over to charge for data, but on a metering system. So I think the challenge is not the charges for data. I think the challenge is the education of that to the consumer, because I genuinely believe consumers will pay for data if they clearly understood at every step how much it was costing them. The issue is that they get to the end of the food chain with a big bill. So it's more of an education piece. And clearly there are changing business dynamics there for the operators as well. It's a big challenge for Telefonica.
Right, Shaun, on that note, we'll leave it there.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.